Thank you, Mark. And thank you all for showing up at such a vulnerable time, such a dark place. I come here with such a heavy heart, painful heart, but also a heart full of hope and a heart full of connection. So us being together collectively is really the strength that we all need to move forward with light and love and not hatred. So if my voice gives out, know that I'm holding you in my heart, because I may lose my voice during this time, but I'm here fully with my heart and my being. And Cheshvan, this new Hebrew month, starting on Saturday, is such a perfect opportunity for us to come into restoration mode. We came from the highs of Tishrei, the busyness of Tishrei, the intensity of the high holidays, and now even more so the intensity of what happened beginning on Simchat Torah. And Cheshvan is a month of processing, of integration. And we have so much right now to process. Our bodies need this time of quiet and restoration. And the name Cheshvan even has the word chush, which is silence. It's a month dedicated to quiet. And as also seasonally, we are shifting from the summer into the wetter, colder season. The world is going into hibernation mode. And similarly, we too go inside to restore. And from the social Tishrei, we come towards inwardness and quietude. There is a teaching in Cheshvan that is so potent for the healing of our people right now. And that is, in Cheshvan is when the flood began, the Mabul, the great flood. And it's also when the flood ended. And the flood represented this tragedy of turbulence and chaos in the world. And we're going through that right now as well. And the divine tells Noah to enter his ark, to go into the ark. And the divine is telling all of us to enter into our protective arks, our places of restoration, our places of safety, our places of stability during times of chaos, during times of turbulence. We enter our arks, and not just the ark alone, but it also says with your household. So first we find stability in our own protective arks, and then we bring others with us, our community, into these spaces. So this will be the focus of our meditation together, is entering this protective space of our inner arks of restore, of replenish, of safety. And hopefully we can give that same stability to others in need right now that do not have this privilege of practice. So let's begin by finding a position of ark, a position of safety. And for every person, that could be different. If you want to lay on the ground or find a posture that feels safe to you, maybe it's a child's pose. Maybe it's bringing one hand on the heart, one hand on the low belly. And we learn that there are 3 stages, there are 3 levels of the ark. And to me, these 3 levels represent the mind, the heart, and the body, and these 3 levels of restoration and finding safety. So I invite you to close your eyes if you feel safe to do so. Otherwise, keep your eyes open with a steady gaze in front of you. And let's bring a wash of awareness through these 3 levels of the ark. Starting with the lowest level, the body. Letting yourself sink into the stability of the ground beneath you. letting your body relax down towards the earth, soles of feet rooting into the ground, sit bones rooting downwards, body sinking, and let your body feel anything that it is processing right now without judgment. And washing gentle awareness over the heart, whether there's heaviness, pain, fear, or belonging, just a wash of gentle relaxation over the heart. Letting your heart feel held and stabilized by this protective arc. And then a gentle softening of the mind, any worrying thoughts or anxiety filled thoughts. Imagine just the wash of a waterfall clearing the mind. And we'll take some collective breaths together before we go off into silence, creating an arc of protection around us. So let's take a deep inhale in through your nose, drawing in strength and resilience to the very center of your being. Hold and exhale out through your nose or mouth, creating an arc of protection around you, almost like a vapor surrounding and encircling your entire being with safety. We'll try that 2 more times together. Inhale deeply into your center. Exhale, release. Visualize that protective sphere surrounding you. Any texture or color that comes to mind. One more collective inhale, deeply gathering in all the strength, all the trust. Exhale, a big protective arc circling you. Continue this breath in silence at your own pace. Every exhale, relax into the space around you. Continue this breath, creating a vapor of support around yourself. Or if you feel like you have enough strength to give this arc of support to someone in need, someone struggling, someone in fear, someone that needs your energy right now, whether you know them or you don't know them. Let's offer these next rounds of breath towards someone else. So, same thing, we'll inhale, coming to our center. And the exhale will send our protective arc to someone else. Imagine you're sending a protective cloud of glory around anyone in a place of instability or in hurt. Those same clouds of glory that protected the Israelites as they journeyed the dangerous desert. And says the Rebbe of Rushin, the clouds of glory were created by the collective exhales of the people. So every exhale matters. I'd love to offer one more path to enter into our protective arcs a little bit deeper. The Baal Shem Tov teaches that the word for arc, teva, also means words. So the divine is saying, during the flood, during turbulence, enter into your words of prayer, your words of Torah, words of comfort. So I invite you to bring a word of solace, bring it forth from the center of your being. It can be a word like shalom, peace, or any word that brings you comfort. And the practice of the Baal Shem Tov is to inhale, inviting that word in, the meaning of the word. And on the exhale, hum it through your body, or just gently breathe the word out. We'll do that in silence. You feel called to, you can also chant this word, fully entering into the word, embodying the word, coming into the whole energy of the word. And we'll take this last breath to let the word reverberate through your entire body. Om. Feel the word becoming your protective arc, a place of solace, of restore and replenish. And know that you can come back to this place of stability and safety whenever you feel scared or triggered. We have this inner space we can return to. Please bring both your hands to your heart. To close, just bow towards the wisdom and the grace of your heart with gratitude for this privilege to practice and to offer the healing that we have cultivated to anyone not privileged to practice right now that could use our prayers and support. May our heart guide us forward during this time in community, with love, with light. And may this new moon bring renewal that we all need, a new energy of healing and peace. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jenna. Amen. Amen. Wrapping up a beautiful week of practice, starting with Rabbi Jenny Solomon on Monday and all the way through. And this was really a perfect practice for today to move into Shabbat and move into Cheshvan. So we're grateful to you. And we seal the practice as we do every day by offering an opportunity for those in mourning, observing yard sites. If you're moved to join in the Kaddish, to do so, put the name or names of anyone you'd like to include in the chat now or after you recite Kaddish. And if you're not reciting Kaddish, inviting you to stay present and offer your compassionate support for those who are. And thanks to Jordan for putting the words on the screen. If you're reciting the Kaddish, please join me by rising in body or in spirit, and you can unmute at this time. Yitgadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah, Alma Divra, Melich Chutei, Chayechon, Mechon, Beit Israel, Gala, Man Kari, Miru, Main, Yehi Shmei Rabba, Lam Lamei, Barach, Arvi, Am, Nase,
Tadar Vietale Vietalo, Made a Kusha,
Amiran Ba'alma,
Amen.
Hesh Lama Rabba Misha, Chaim Aleinu, Kol Yisrael, Amen. Shalom B'Maraman, Israel, Yoshvei Tevel, Friends, thanks so much for joining us today. Wishing you a Shabbat Shalom. If you're leaving us now, you're welcome, of course, as always, to stay on for a few minutes of conversation with our teacher, for questions, for reflections on today's teaching and practice, just for being together or for continuing with your practice. I'm going to put a link in the chat both to At the Well Project. Jenna is the Jewish educator for At the Well. Those of you who have been around know that Sarah Waxman, the founder and director of At the Well, often has led us on these Rosh Chodesh sets and that we do in partnership with At the Well. And while Sarah's on maternity leave, we're really so blessed, Jenna, to have you take the teacher's seat and lead us, and especially today, we're so grateful to you. Also, I put in the chat the link for our teachers for next week, and we hope you'll join us on Monday for the second day of Rosh Chodesh Cheshvan. I also want to share, for those of you who don't know or are aware, that we have turned our daily sit into a podcast as well. The most recent episode is the sit led by Rabbi Jenny Solomon this past Monday. So please spread the word about that podcast. It's called Jewish Meditation for Everyone. The link is in the chat, and as they say. You can get it wherever you get your podcasts. So, so I'm going to invite Jenna in. If folks have questions, if you're leaving us now, first of all, wish you a Shabbat Shalom, a Chodesh Tov, as such as possible. And we hope to see you on Monday. And for any of you who have a question for Jenna, please put it in the chat and preface it by writing question in all caps so I can keep an eye on that. And otherwise, feel free to just share your reflections as always and resources. Well, first of all, Jenna, I just want to add prayers for your family, that you mentioned just before we sat, and may they be safe and well. And there really are no words, of course, for where we're at right now. So I just want to appreciate the use of the visualization of the Teva, the Ark, as a sanctuary, but also as something connective. Like the controversy about Noah is always, yeah, he was great for his time, but he didn't warn the people. He didn't reach out. And what you offered today was a way of building the ark, right, that helped us stay connected and inclusive of those in need of safety and protection. I just want to invite you just to start off by maybe saying a little bit more about these three levels of the ark, and the progression that you led us through. If you would, if you can either just restate that or elaborate that, because I think that it's really helpful.
Yeah. So we learned that there are three levels on the ark, and my interpretation, and not from anyone else, so that it's not like in the books Torah, but when I think of the safety of the ark in my own body, I think of these three levels of the mind, the heart, and the body.
Mm-hmm.
When we're in a flood, there's the waters that are turbulent and rock us off of our center. And that's what this war has been doing. The media pulls us this way and then this way. And the waters are just rocking us back and forth. And our finding stability and coming back to an equilibrium takes all three levels of the central column of ourselves to slowly, from turbulence, find a gentle rocking, being okay with going this way, being okay with swaying to the left, and slowly letting that find our center equilibrium of stillness and stability. And that's what the ark represents for me. Sometimes there's going to be a lot of movement and a lot of emotions sweeping me one way or the other. And hopefully, if I let myself feel and let myself go there, I can gently walk back towards my center. And I think everyone has a different protective ark, especially in times of tragedy. We come back to our practices that bring us stability. For me, my ark has been the four corners of my yoga mat. I felt safe there. It's been my protective space. For others, it's reaching out to community. Some, it's coming into their meditation. And some, you have to find what your ark is and continue to return there until you find equilibrium.
That's beautiful. And as you were describing that practice of being able to not stay rigid, but to sway with the flow, of the waves, move with it, but have a balance. I was thinking of the English phrase, staying even keeled, which is not a phrase I use very often, but having the keel of the ark, that center line, to maintain that structure, is one that comes up for me. Let's talk a little bit about Rosh Chodesh and Cheshvan. First of all, just Rosh Chodesh, Bichlal in general. In our tradition, it's a little bit, it's known as a kind of mini Yom Kippur, and having just been through Yom Kippur and a Shabbat. In this case, we have Shabbat, and then we have 2 days of Rosh Chodesh. As somebody who, at the well, of course, this is what you do. You share wisdom, and I want to encourage people to go to the website. There's a manual for each new Hebrew month, including Cheshvan. But before we talk about Cheshvan specifically, how can we practice Rosh Chodesh at this time? Like, what does Rosh Chodesh offer us in this moment as a practice, would you say?
Yeah. For me, right now, we're in this dark time, and the new moon is the darkest time in the sky. And in that darkness, Rosh Chodesh reminds us to have hope that there will be fullness. The full moon state will come. There will be brightness, there will be healing, and there will be joy. That is the cycle that we see again and again. And every Rosh Chodesh, in the darkest time, we come together with hope for the full moon state. And the Jewish people have always gone through times of darkness and smallness and times of fullness and light when we're contributing and we're giving to the world and we're a light to the nations. And right now we're in the darkest place together.
Yeah, thank you for that. I'm seeing that there's some questions that are kind of practical questions. I don't know if they're practical questions, but there are questions about, for example, how to respond to political developments, demonstrations, et cetera. I just wanted to say that those are good questions. Those are not the questions that we deal with generally in this space. I would say that those questions really go to the question of the flood that you're describing that we're dealing with. What we're doing here is focusing on what do we need to do to stay present and clear and wise about how to respond, not what the response should be, but the step just before that about having the pause to be able to respond wisely. So I don't want to ignore those questions, but I want to say this about questions in that department. So what about Cheshvan itself, specifically Cheshvan? You were just, the themes of Cheshvan that you were describing of kind of this space for resonance and replenishment, and why is that? Why are those the themes that we're moving into?
Well, firstly, this month is connected with the water element in more than just ways of the flood. We have the Mabul in this month, but also we start praying for rain in Israel. The rains fall. It's a wetter month. And we often refer to this month as Mar Heshvan. And Mar can mean bitter Heshvan, but it can also mean drop of water. And back to your question about replenishment during this time, there's waters of destruction like the flood, and there's also life-giving waters that replenish us. And the only way that we're going to not burn out as a people is if we replenish ourselves in the small, quiet moments. And as you mentioned at the beginning, Cheshvan is a quiet month. After the high holidays filled with busyness, this month is sometimes people refer to it as bitter Cheshvan because it feels like a descent, a fall from the high of Tishrei. But if we change the word Mar and flip it, we actually get Ram, which is exalted Cheshvan. So in those quiet moments, can we create exaltedness? In the lowest lows right now, I've seen exaltedness of people coming together and offering everything they can, showing utmost strength. They are flipping the bitterness to this exalted high moment. And we've seen it in our people, and we need to continue that strength. But we also need to find moments to restore ourselves so we don't burn out.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, I just maybe wrap this up here. I just want to, again, take a moment for us to have that pause to hold an awareness as you guided us so beautifully during the practice, to extend that sense of protection and safety, as you put it, to those who may not be in a position to practice, to cultivate that, to feel that. And I think we're pointing us to the sympathetic connection that runs through all of us, that actually can God willing, we hope, be felt at the other end. So just take a moment to continue to hold that and to bring that into the time after our practice ends, bring it into Shabbat, bring it into Rosh Chodesh, bring it into the days and weeks ahead, that we can each feel that protective vapor that you invited us to use the gates of our imagination to experience and feel. May that be the case for you, Jenna, and for everyone here, for our people, for all people, to feel safe. So Shabbat Shalom. Much gratitude to you, Jenna, and to Jordan for holding our space today.
Thank you so much for having us, me and at the well behind me. So
it's a blessing. It's a blessing for all of us. So Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Chodesh Tov. We hope to see you on Monday. And thanks to everyone for being here as always. Many blessings.